What's up, guys? Echo here. Today I'm gonna be showing you me and a couple buddies of mine. Actually, in this game, it's just I only know Ledger Brink. But I'm gonna be showing you basically how to mid like a boss, and and teaching maybe some of you newer players why mid is so important. Mid is a huge part of this game. Okay. If you go up against a pro team who does not utilize this middle two slots, two spaces in the middle here in Nexus Wars, um, even in the back here, you got the back, you even got the front. I've even had teams that fill up this entire middle section, but ideally you want to just use up here, just these front. Actually, I probably should have counted before doing the tutorial, but however many slots it is. A lot of times, the most common things you'll see here is Immortals or carriers. You even see scouts. The things I would say to avoid putting in mid is Ultralists or Crazylies or whatever, or Archons. And I just say avoid that because they're kind of difficult to space and rally properly. So Immortals are pretty good. Mutalists, if you can get them early enough, but carriers and Immortals you'll see a lot in here, or their counters. You know, you'll see sometimes scouts or warhounds in there. But what I did is I start off here with I'm gonna fast forward a little bit while I talk. Start off with the zealot, throw in the lings, just as a added melee damage, you know, and distraction. So we don't need a sentry or anything like that because our teammate was nice enough to get us reapers, so we don't even have to worry about detection. So now what I did is, and you can only do this for whatever reason on the host side. You can put basically a Hydralisk or a Stalker, which takes up two spaces in between before the rocks fall. Okay? Now, I'm going to pause it. The reason you can only do this on the host side is because there's a 2-space gap. If you go to the, I guess you would say, away side, is a 1-space gap. You cannot fit the Hydralisk or Stalker in there. I think this is not intended. I'm not sure. But I've tried it on this side and you can't do it. So anyway, it gives you a nice little head start on advantage over your opponent if you do something like this. I don't do it all the time because I don't really care for stalkers in mid, but this time I was just gonna do it just for display purposes. So anyway, I do plan on going Immortal in the mid, and I just use the Stalker first. Okay, so now the rocks break. The rocks break at 5 minutes. So at 5 minutes you can start using, you know, any of the spaces in mid. But I decided let's just throw 2 Stalker in there, and I always send middle up first. If you are pushing your lane decent, or even if you're being pushed, you can always work or attack. But you want to get as much early pressure as you can on your opponent, okay? So if they're coming up, even if they were right up here, right up on the ramp, you know, your team will help you if they're not scrubs. They'll work or attack with you. And what you're hoping is that by sending these 2 stalkers top, I think I sent a total of 3 top, you're hoping that will actually crush the top side. If they're not good, if they don't counter well, then that could really hurt them. But in this case it did not. They had tanks ready and waiting, and that would be the reason I don't like going Stalker mid. But what we're going to do is we're going to work or attack, take care of these tanks, get rid of them, and you'll see I'm using the escape salvage pull and getting rid of the last tank, and the stalkers are going up. Okay, so I pylon. So I went Zealot into Lings into double stalker into pylon. And you need the pylon to get going, especially if you're going to be the mid for your team. If you're just going to put 2 to 4 units in there, you don't really need a huge income or anything like that. But you will need income because this type of strategy requires pretty expensive units to actually be effective. So again, we're sending top. As long as our bottom lane is not pushing on our ramp, and even sometimes if it is, you will send to the opposite side. If I were top, I'd be sending bottom. And this is to get as much pressure on them as possible. Now look at this. Look at all our stalkers. I want to say 60% of this top lane is our units. And that is just destroying them. Because they can't prepare for it, okay? They could have massed tanks to deal with our stalkers, but then they aren't going to be dealing with any of the top lanes, units that they built. The whole point is to counter what's in your lane, right? And if you're countering what the bottom lane is putting mid, you are not countering your lane. So we've still got 2 stalkers, 2 immortals, and we're just eating them up right now. They already left the game. We used 1 nuke and 1 person left. 3 immortals, 4, another nuke. Noobs, see? They're pissed off. They're pissed that this works so well, I guess. Now, if you look at the bottom, we're finally getting pushed. I send all my units to the bottom. And in reality, bottom has no idea what I've made yet. This is the first time they're seeing what units I've made. Thankfully, they actually have warhounds, and that was luck to counter it. Because up until now, they had no idea what I was building. They were blind this whole time. And top used 2 nukes. So you pressured top, over pressured top, and made bottom blind to what you're actually building. And this kind of strategy, if you do it quick enough and you hit mid as soon as the rocks fall, or even before, like I did this game, you're really gonna damage them. Look at these. 2 cannons fall because they had no idea. So we got 1, 2, 3 cannons, 2 nukes, and then 1, 2 cannons and a nuke on bot. 3 nukes, 5 cannons, I'll take it. Make it 6 cannons. Will that fall? Yup. 6 cannons down. So many minerals wasted. They're trying to salvage. They're trying the salvage pull. It's not gonna work. It's too late. Game's already over. And if you go back and look, this is a pretty good. I'm gonna pause it here just so you could see. Immortals need just that one space in between them. Okay. Now when you put the stalkers where I put them in between, you can team them up with a row of immortals. Because the immortals only need the one space. You can see it's a little wonky. You don't have to do it like that. You could literally select all immortals and rally them here, and only 1 or 2, sometimes 2 immortals will find their way to the bottom, drift to the bottom. Don't forget about these back slots. These back slots are best used for Mothership Core or High Templar. And the reason for that being is a lot of people don't even use these slots. So let's say somebody else took mid, somebody else has put in immortals there and whatever there. You don't want to put an immortal in the back. You want to put a support unit. High Templar for the storm is very useful. And you can just throw that in the back. Mothership Core, since it's a flying unit, it has the slow. That's a very good one to put in the back. So let's look at what I actually put on my own side. We have still the Zealot, Lings, and then just my Phoenix here. Everything else, every other unit that I make in this game is going in the mid. And the reason for that is I want to be able to send it to the top. Now, if top had handled that a little better, maybe if they were more experienced players, it still would eventually overwhelm them unless they countered in the mid. And look at what they put in the mid. 4 Thors. My Immortals, really, 4 Thors. My Immortals will devour that. That's like breakfast to them. They look forward to this. So from the get-go, they're down so many nukes, so many minerals from all those cannons, and they are not countering me in mid. Immortals alone are hard to counter. That's why they're so popular in mid. But they are counterable. You can put things in there. I've seen people put just all infestor in mid, just to slow down the Immortals and eat them up a little bit. But then you see what I did is I got the support unit in the back, all Immortals, got the Stalkers just because they were early. I would never recommend when the rocks fall to go Immortal times, whatever, 6, and then throw Stalkers in there. That would be foolish. At that point, you want to just throw a Stalker on your own lane. There's no reason to put a late Stalker in mid. That was just to put early pressure on. So yeah, if you see, you can 4 them up, quad them up like this, and then Immortals, and then by the time I got to, what is that, my 9th Immortal, I realized, or I decided that it might be time for a little, oh my god, Colossus. So throw that in there, and you never want to do more than like 2. I would say 2 Colossus is plenty in mid. And then what I'll do from here is they should start countering with air, and that's why I have my Phoenix ready and waiting. Is I will go to the bottom mid, and as long as we're still pushing, and as long as my team is aware that I'm placing units down here and can nuke or cannon or attack, whatever needs to be done, then my units will be pretty safe. And I'll usually go full scout. Scout, or maybe carriers depending, but typically just scouts to protect my my Colossus. Oh my god, I can't remember the name of that. Okay, anyway, that's the tutorial, guys. That's just showing you a brief way of how to